You know more about personal finance than most people you'll ever meet. You've read the books, you understand the psychology. And yet, when you're standing in a store holding something you could buy 10 times over without feeling a dent, your body still hesitates. You put it back. You tell yourself you're being disciplined. You call it smart. But that's not what's happening. You are one of the financially literate people who still lives internally like you're broke. Not on paper. On paper, you're stable. But in the quiet moments, in the everyday decisions, in the feeling you carry around money that never quite relaxes, you're not acting like someone who understands money. You're acting like someone who's afraid of it. This started early. You learned that responsible people don't enjoy money, they protect it, they worry about it. Then you got smart. You learned the mechanics, the numbers. But the education never touched the old wiring. You can run the numbers and see you're safe. Your body runs a completely different calculation. And the old one wins almost every time.
You need a new laptop. The current one is failing. It eats your patience in small, constant bites. You find the model that would fix it. It's within your means, easily. And then you wait. You'll get it next month. Maybe after the sale. The tab stays open for weeks. And the whole time, you already decided, and somehow you still don't click buy. You book a flight and immediately check your bank account, even though nothing has changed. You stand in the grocery aisle and put back the slightly better version of what you came to buy. You wear shoes past their life. You use a phone with a cracked screen. You delay the dentist, not because you can't afford it, because spending on yourself still feels like a decision you have to defend. You research a small item for hours, reading reviews, comparing prices, watching unboxings, as if making the wrong choice would be a moral failure. You buy the cheap version. You regret it within a week. Then you tell yourself, it's fine, you'll replace it later. Later doesn't come. There's a jacket you visited online maybe 40 times. The money is sitting there, unspent. It's been 6 months. The tab is still open. You haven't bought it. You haven't closed the tab either. You're just suspended.
You're at a hotel check-in, and they offer the slightly better room, the one with the view, and it's not expensive. You say no. You take the standard room, and then you spend the entire stay wishing you'd taken the upgrade, quietly, while you're supposed to be enjoying the trip. You're on vacation, and a small part of you is tallying every meal, every drink, every experience. Not enough to ruin it, just enough to keep you from fully being there. You never entirely arrive on vacation because a piece of your attention is still back home, auditing your spending in real time. Your headphones are held together with tape. You've been meaning to replace them for 2 years. You use them every single day, but every time you go to buy new ones, you talk yourself out of it. They still work, sort of. You'll get a little more life out of them. You've said that sentence 30 times. You order food delivery on a tired Tuesday. The food arrives, you eat it, and then you feel a faint but distinct guilt. Not about the food, about the spending, even though that delivery didn't nudge your bank balance. The guilt doesn't care about context. It just arrives, punctual as the delivery itself. You check your bank account before buying a coffee. Not because you think you might be low, you know you're not, but there's a ritual, a small reassurance scan, as if the numbers might have suddenly changed overnight. The scan says you're fine. You buy the coffee. The ritual was still necessary. You delay medical appointments, not the emergencies, the maintenance, the dental cleaning, the specialist checkup, the thing that could prevent a bigger problem later. It's not that you can't afford the copay. It's that your internal permission system sorts nearly everything into could wait, and so you wait. You've told yourself you'll start enjoying life when you hit a certain number. Then you hit that number, and the number moves. You barely notice it move. It just shifts, a little higher, a little safer. and the version of you who was supposed to start living at that first number stays frozen, waiting for a finish line that keeps receding. You watch someone else order the nicer meal without hesitation. They don't justify it. They don't do a quick mental calculation. They just choose. And you feel something between admiration and confusion. How do they do that? Not how can they afford it? You can afford it too. How do they just decide? You cancel plans and feel relief, not because you didn't want to go, because now you don't have to spend. You were prepared to. You'd budgeted for it. But when the plan disappeared, so did the small tension you hadn't even noticed you were carrying. And then you sat at home, safe, money intact, and felt a kind of hollow victory.
Inside your home, there are things you own that are broken or worn. The chair that squeaks, the pan with the peeling surface, the lamp that flickers. You've told yourself you'll replace them, but they're still there. Months, years, you live around them. The cost isn't the money, it's the tiny friction every day that you've decided is normal. You check your accounts again at night, not analyzing, just looking. The numbers haven't changed. You know they haven't, but there's a brief settling, a momentary quiet. Then it fades. The safety never quite takes. It needs to be refreshed, like a page you keep reloading but never trust to stay up. You call all of this careful, prudent. I just don't need much. But careful people don't feel anxiety buying groceries. People who genuinely don't need much don't spend this much mental energy arguing with themselves about a $30 purchase. And prudent people don't delay replacing things that are already broken or cancel checkups that keep them healthy. Over time, this doesn't just affect what you buy, it affects how you feel about yourself. Every time you override a rational, affordable decision with an old, unnamed hesitation, every time you know better and still can't move, you lose another grain of trust in yourself. Not in your financial knowledge, that's intact, in your ability to make a simple choice and stand by it. After enough repetitions, you stop expecting yourself to follow through. You start factoring in your own hesitation when you imagine the future. Your balance sheet says yes. You still say wait. You are tired not from what you spend, but from what you constantly negotiate. Nobody questions someone who's good with money. Nobody sees the hesitation. Nobody hears the internal negotiation that plays out every single time you try to let yourself have something without a justification attached.
But you know there's a difference between managing money well and being at peace with it, and you know which one you actually are. The pattern doesn't make noise. It just keeps showing up in small, repeated refusals, until one day you notice your life has become emotionally smaller than it needed to be. Not tragic, not broken, just tight. A life where safety was achieved, but you never moved in. You did everything right. You learned, you built, you saved, you protected. The external side of your financial life is sound. But nobody told you that building safety and giving yourself permission to inhabit it are two completely different things. This doesn't require a grand gesture. It doesn't require spending recklessly or undoing the discipline that got you here. It requires a small, almost boring act, letting yourself have something you can afford on an ordinary Tuesday, and then watching the guilt rise and fall and not undoing the decision. Not a philosophy, a lived contradiction of the old rule. Next time you're standing there, item in hand, running your familiar internal delay, notice it. The hesitation, the negotiation, the instinct to wait a little longer, even now, even when you can afford it. Especially then.